we go then. It is a new season, but we're going to start off with the end of season review from last season, straight into today's episode. We are going to put together a team that's going to get us to the Serie A title. That is the aim anyway. That is what we're going to try and do in today's episode. We're gonna mortgage the future a little bit. We're gonna spend a bit of money this summer because we can. We've got a lot of money in the bank, and the club is very profitable right now. And we've got Champions League money coming in yet again, and we're gonna get a bigger stadium coming up pretty soon too. We've got a lot of things going for us right now, and a couple of very big assets to sell if we needed to. Let's start off this episode with the end of season review, so we know where we're sort of at and what we're buying for next season. So they think that last season Dardai was the best signing, with £6 million, really good value for money that is. Chilafia was £7 million. Abad is going to be a tough player to replace. Rainier was pretty good towards the end of the season. I didn't mention this last episode, but off of camera, he was actually quite good playing on the left wing, despite the fact he didn't have that much pace. Monterisi, £4 million. What a signing he was. Now, if this was like a Moneyball type save, I probably would sell him because if a club wants to buy him for like £15 million, when we bought him for £4 million, I would. But the problem is we need homegrown players, and let's see what happens. I don't really want to sell Monterisi at all. That's a player I really don't want to sell, but we'll see. £5.75 million for Samu, who was on loan last season, who did a better job, really, as a starter overall for us, I guess. Somebody that I've offered Samu out. I don't know if I have, actually. I don't think I have. I'm going to offer him out just in case we can get an offer for him, because I've offered Ezon out. See if we get any bites for that. Bryce will stay, I think, for another year because he's a very unique type player. It's really nice to have like a really quick defender to just have in the squad somewhere, come down the right or the left, fills in when needed, doesn't really complain, really good squad depth player. We're keeping from 1 year, I think. Why not? No need to sell him. The amount of money we'd get from him as well isn't great, so it's not really a big deal. Jay Montero was a free transfer, so he is what he is. Ola wasn't great, but he was okay. The results obviously finishing third in the table. Champions League got knocked out by bloody Benfica. The Italian Cup, let's not go there. I'm still angry about that. And we didn't even win the Italian Super Cup. So it was a season of nearly for us, really, is what that was. Some great moments there. Finances all up except for commercial and retail, but competition prize money went up massively on the year before. Everything else has gone up hugely for us, which is good to see. That was your team of the year, apparently. Pretty close. Is that correct? I guess when we play that formation, yeah, why not? Accolades. Perini was fans player of the season. Young player of the season was Asan, okay. Goal of the season, signing of the season was Rainier, apparently, which is interesting. Top goal scorer was Samu. Assist was Handel. Man of the match awards was Asan. Some other stuff there. Most goals per in a match was only scored like 12 goals, and 3 of them were in the same match. So there you are. Ernst was a good goalkeeper. I don't see us really selling him. Like he was. Is he got a release clause? No. Well, we can just get rid of this, because that's going. So there's Ernstein as well, who's a pretty good goalkeeper. History in the making, nothing too much to see here. Manager timeline, developing talent apparently, yeah. And there you are. That is your end of season review. We've got 400,000 followers, more followers than we had last year, which is good for social media. The club is growing in the beautiful city of Venice, which is lovely to see. We'll just accept that and move on to the next season, discuss plans for next season. Just going to say nothing to the players for now. I'm not really interested in speaking to them right this second about anything. Okay, so apparently teams are interested in us on early on, which is going to be good. I'm just going to continue through a few days so we can see what offers we've got. I've offered some players out. I just want to see what offers we get. I'm not necessarily wanting to sell all of them. I just want to see what they do. So I'll see you in a second and see what we get for this. Oh, the new stadium has been confirmed. Venezia Stadium is going to be built. It's going to be built in 2020. Only 2 seasons. That's not too bad. That's okay. Loan of £29 million. Stadium sponsorship has done the rest of it. Okay, that's good. Does that mean any of my finances have gone a little bit? It's gone down to 30 million. Okay, so that's going to be that. Capacity of 24,000, just under 25, which is good. That's good for us, that is. Oh, okay, this is interesting too. So even though we've been here for a couple of years, our current stadium that we're renting does not meet the Italian Serie A minimum requirements. So we're going to be playing at which is in Padova, incidentally, which isn't too far from Venice, but it's not in Venice, of course. We're playing a different city for a season or two. I mean, I don't know how that affects I don't know how the rent and the income for the tickets works, but if that should, you'd think, make us better off financially. I'm a bit gutted we're not playing in Venice for the next 2 years, but if we can get more money from the capacity, that's going to help us out massively too, because we're only getting, 12,000 for a home game? 11,150 is all we're getting, so we're punching massively above our weights at the moment. So, yeah, well, there you go. Some extra news for you before those offers even came in for the players. What I've actually been doing before these offers even come in is I've been going through the top divisions and seeing who went down, and seeing if they've got any players that are just they're going to be really good value for money because they've gone down. And I noticed that Borussia Dortmund have actually won the league. But not only did Borussia Dortmund win the league, Borussia Dortmund won the league on 49 goals scored. I mean, that is some impressive stuff. I mean, I don't know if they deserved it, really, but they won it, so there you are. Okay, so nothing has happened yet. Nobody has come in. Nobody has gone out just to this point. What I'm going to do now is go through some of the positions of players that I've scouted and looked at, and go through some of the options that we've got and who we think our number one target is going to be. And it's not just a case of who the best player is in each position, it's also factoring in the money. So I haven't got enough money to go and buy the best player in each position that I've got on my shortlist and the players I've looked at. But it might be that maybe our number 3 target in terms of player quality at left back really is the number 1 target, because the value for money, that aspect of it is there. Whereas other positions, we might need to spend a bit more money, although left back is quite important this year, I think. So look at the tactic. The left back needs to be better, I think. That we saw last year a few times where whoever played there didn't do that well. So I think that my priorities are striker, a top-level winger, and left back. That's the first 3 things that I want to get. So the one area we're not going to cost cut is left back, although I just use that as an example. That was just an example. We're not going to be cost cutting at left back at all. So let's go through the positions. We're going to get a goalkeeper as well, potentially, if we have enough money left over, because I can get rid of my current one, I think, for about 5 million up front. And a lot of the goalkeepers that I can see look like a decent upgrade. A couple of them are Italian homegrown as well. So let's go through the goalkeepers first. So yeah, the first one I think is Stefano Turati. Now he looks really good. He's got good positioning. He's fairly quick, which is good for a goalkeeper. It's just a bonus, isn't it? Really, in FM, he's good enough in the air. I think he looks pretty good. He's going to be somebody that I strongly consider. Being homegrown as well obviously really helps. Being Italian, and that is something I would like to keep in this team. Whenever we get a chance where we can make the team slightly more Italian, slightly more homegrown, I'm going to take it, because we really don't have many Italian players or homegrown players at all. I don't mind playing in a country where you don't have too many players from the same nation, but you have a lot of homegrown players. That's fine, but we don't even have that. So I think that and to be fair, playing as Venezia, playing in Italy and playing in Venice, I would love to have an Italian team. All Italians would be great. So any chance I get, I'm going to probably take it. Wages are an issue. We'll come back to that. The transfer budget has gone down. Some of you may have noticed this in the last screen. And that's because I've converted it to wages, basically. That's all that's happened there. And the reason is most players want a lot of money. This goalkeeper, I think, is the best value for money. He's not very quick, but he's very good in the air. He's got good work rate, and he's good as a standard goalkeeper. So I think that this could be our best value for money signing, a goalkeeper. I think he'd be really good and somebody who could get better. So I think this lad might be the one to go for, especially if we can get him for 1.5 million plus maybe 10 grand a week in wages. Be a nice little move that would be. It would free up money elsewhere, because the other goalkeeper would get more money for. Oliver Christensen, I like as well. Good work rate. Again, standard pretty good across the board. Basically, would be a sideways move financially. He would cost about the same as we're going to sell our goalkeeper for. So it'd be a case of, is he a better goalkeeper? Yes. And has he got more potential? They're both about the same, I would say, but it's an option. Moving on to fullbacks. So left back, Alex Val is my number 1 target. He's quick enough. He's good enough mentally. He's really good defensively in terms of attacking. 14, so I like this the most. He's going to be good enough in the air, or actually pretty good in the air for a fullback. He can dribble across well enough as well. And he's only going to cost us like £5 million. I just think he's a really nice, solid player to throw into left back for us next season. Got some good traits there too. Looks really good. Obviously, being 22 and from the Barcelona Academy, you'd expect him to have a chance to improve. So Alex Val is pretty close to the top of my list for left back. Yeah, we have Ridvan Yilmaz, who's got 14 dribbling and 14 crossing, which is that's what attracts him to him, I guess, is the best way to put it. But price tag and wages, yeah. So it's probably been no, but he's there anyway. I mean, on reflection, I'm not sure the left backs there were actually good enough. Now I think about this. Centre backs. Now, I don't know what we're going to be buying for, because if we don't sell any of our current 3, we might not need one at all. And if we do, it'd be a backup. So this is basically centre backs that would be, some of them are depth, some of them are potential replacements if we were to lose somebody. So Ami would be like a depth player. Maybe the third choice because he's young and he could improve. He's on a lot of wages, though. It's my concern with him, but he's Italian homegrown, of course. Again, Justin here, German centre-back, same sort of thing. Good. He'd be the depth option, wouldn't he? That's what he'd come in to be. Senk here. Senk could be a really good centre-back, and he's left-footed, And the difference with him, he's one of the few players we've got who is worth quite a bit of money, yes, but he is not on a lot of wages. So we could make ourselves back a bit of money that way, right? Because he's not going to cost us as much with the contract. So that's what attracts me to him. Left-footed, low wages, could be the one. Might cost us a bit of money. He would definitely be a replacement for one of the two starters. I mean, I think that Kevin here is an excellent player. Like, he's a good centre-back. Could be a good pivot player, really. He's not going to cost us too much. Bit of wages. I'm not sure what to do with him yet. I feel like I want to buy him, although I don't know what for, because he really could do either job for us. I wouldn't say he'd be a starting pivot player, but he could easily be your backup, like number 2. Yeah, really good. Obviously, he'd be one of our non-EU players for the year, right? So that's the only downside to him. And then Gabriel Pereira here, another centre-back again, who looks a bit less similar to the left-footed centre-back we just looked at. Very similar in terms of valuation and wages. Right-footed, though, but again, would be a nice replacement if needed. Does cost us that non-EU slot, of course. There are players on the shortlist, so I've not shown you for both left-back and centre-back there, that were there last year that I've just not shown them to you. So yeah, there's a few players here, like left back as well. We've got Miguel Gutierrez. Miguel Gutierrez is really the one to go for if we're going to splash a load of money on a player at left back. He's going to be the one, I reckon. So that's who he gets. Yeah, these aren't all the players that I'm showing you here. These are just the players that weren't on the shortlist that I've looked at so far. That's pretty much it for that. Then right back's got a couple. I'm not too sure if we're in desperation for a right back. We've got is Costinha going to be the start? I mean, Costinha's wanted. He's on a bit of wages for a player that I'm not too sure about. So we could sell Costinha, bring in a first choice, but that's not at the top of my agenda right now. That right back position could be done by a centre back too, like a Monterrey type player. So I'm not really too bothered about right back right this second. I guess if we bring in a centre back and we then use Monterrey as like a first choice right back and a backup centre back, and Bryce is the backup right back, we could then sell Costinha, make some money, and look to bring in a decent centre back, a bit like the lad from Boca Juniors. So we'll have a look at that. Pivot players. So this is my first choice for pivot. Mateus here. Mateus is immense. The problem with him having a minimum fee release clause is basically one that's to be activated. So it would cost us 10 million up front, which is a bit too much, ideally. So my plan is to try and get him with some installments, maybe a bit of percentage of the next sale, because he's immense. He's brilliant. Like, if we buy him for, let's say it costs us 11 or 12, because we're going to do it in installments, not all up front. If we do that, in 2 years' time, he'll be worth like 40 million. Like, somebody will be willing to pay that much, because he's a really good holding midfield player, defensively. He's good enough with his dribbling. He's good enough with his passing, and he's quick. Like, he's got everything that you'd want. So I'm going to try and sign him. And he's probably going to be a priority because although it's not a need for us at CDM, at Pivot, but like he's the best available player. Like in the NFL draft, they talk about this sometimes where, you know, you have what you need positionally, but if somebody else is available who's just way too good to turn down, sometimes you've got to take that, then readjust the other parts of your team, right? Which this could be the case here. Moving into the more advanced central field players now, we've got a 18-year-old here, so a new gen. Ponson looks like he could be pretty good. Worth a bit too much money right now. Hopefully that comes down next year, but he could be somebody for the future. And that moves me on to Gabriel Pirani, who looks a pretty good player. The valuation's a bit high for my liking, and he'd be perfect for that sort of position when we play our 4-3-3 out of possession, when we're playing against another 4-2-3-1. He'd be pretty good for that as the 8, not the 4, not the CDM, not the cam, not the 10, but the 8, the box-box type player. That's what he would be good for, but valuation's a bit of an issue. Thomas Usolov looks like he could be a good number 10. Valuation's a little high for my liking. If I can get him for like £5 million, he could be an option for the number 10 position. Really looking at if we lose a San for like 60, 70 million later in the window is what some of these really are. Yeah, Fabian Rieder, again, would be really good for that sort of in-between player. Not really a pivot player, not number 10, but the one in between, which is good. He'd be a good player. Victor Hugo, I really like the most of the 10s, and he could play deeper too. He's a really good player, somebody I'd like to bring in. He'd cost a lot of money, so I think he's the kind of player that if we lost a San for like 50 million, he's the kind of player that would come in and be like, he's not a like for like, he's a bit different, but he's good enough that I think would help minimize that gap. I'm a little concerned his passing is only 13, but apart from that, you know, he's really good in almost every other department, so we'll see how it goes with that. And I've actually already done the contract for this guy, but Marco Meerwald here is a new gen, number 10, can play like deeper as well. He looks immense. Now, he's only 18, just under 18. He's got great work rate. Determination isn't quite there. Good personality, though. I think we'll try and get him onto mentoring some people that have got better determination, try and get that up a bit. But you think that he's already got pace. His acceleration isn't too far off. He could be an excellent number 10 or like in-between player. And he's worth the risk of playing in that sort of second pivot, the more advanced pivot role, and just seeing how he develops. And it might cost us the title in the long run. I don't know, but he looks so good. The stuff that's really hard to improve on a player in FM, things like pace, which would cost you a lot of their development, or even something like flair. You know, having 15 flair, that's a really good start point. He's got a lot of potential, I think. And he played in the first team last season, not quite, but yeah. So he looks really good. He comes in, and he's going to join us for only £5.25 million. Only 2.6 of it is up front, so that's all it's going to cost us as well in terms of the transfer budgets. And that moves us on to wide players now. Ruben van Bommel is a player that I'm looking at very closely because he can play on the left as a winger, cutting in if we work on his dribbling, and he could also then play as a number 10 as well, so could be a dual threat for us if he was to come in on the wings. We've got Cecchini over here on the left-hand side. Cutting in could be pretty good as well. There's many players we've got for this. We've got a new gen Italian youngster who's only 18. He's not really ready for the first team, but he's Italian. Again, if we end up with him and that Dutch player, it might be a case of like, okay, do we just play these youngsters, these wonder kids, and know it's going to cost us the title, but play them in the league, play them regularly. Then when it comes to the Champions League and the Cup, that's when we take them out and play out other players. But it could be worth doing for the long run. We'll see. But that's another option for a wide player. Alvaro Jallo, he looks really good. He's somebody that I want to try and get this year. Really quick, good dribbling. He's really the one, I think, if we're going to spend loads of money on a winger, he's the one that I'm going to go for, I think, first, because he's got pace, acceleration, dribbling, and flair. And it looks like he could be a really effective forward for like 2-3 years, and then we could even sell him on after that. But he looks really good. He's my number one target for the wide players. We also have Borges Sanchez from Luxembourg, 44 caps already, age 22. Would be a backup option for the wing. Would be our depth option if we wanted to bring in somebody in on the wide areas. Looks okay. Hasn't played much, so that's probably cost him a little bit of his development. So you think that could he get better again if we were to give him some time in the team and training with our facilities now, our schedules and stuff, right? So there's that. Joel as well as another option again this year. I looked at him last year. Just the cost is a bit high for my liking, but he's quick and got pace, and that does cost you a lot of money. And again, there's also Jacobo, who is somebody I'm really liking the look of because he could play on the left, cutting on the right hand side, on his right foot, as somebody who's quick and creative. Flair isn't quite there, but he's got good passing, good vision. But then he could also play as a pivot player too, which is his main position, of course. So that's pretty much it, I think, for wide players. I don't think they had too many others really to show you. But really, it's a case of like Van Bommel and the other guy that I showed you a second ago. Yeah, Jallo. Those two are really the options we're going to go for. Fabio Moretti, by the way, is another pivot player that I forgot to mention to you that I'm going to try and get. His problem is wages, but he's homegrown. Again, that's going to be something that plays a bit of an effect, I think. And in terms of strikers, I've offered Jean-Philippe Mateta a contract because he's a free transfer. His contract's up, and I think that if we can get him on like 26, 27 grand a week, which we have, I think that's what I offered him, 20, 28, something like that. And for a striker, he'd probably be a better starting striker for us, but the very least good backup one. So he'll come in, I think, and we'll see how he gets on. Cameron Archer is an option for us this year. Only 5'7", but pretty good in the air considering he's only 5'7". Pretty good at getting up to the ball. Philip Bundgaard is really going to be coming in as a number 10, I think. He's more of a number 10 than a striker if he was going to come in. And then, this is another winger as well that I didn't mention to you. Goki, no, that's one of our cost-effective ones. I'm going to try and get him in because I think he'd be a really good backup winger. He's got enough pace acceleration. He's got enough dribbling. He's got enough everything to be good enough to be a backup, you know. So I think he's going to be somebody that we buy. Will cost a non-EU slot, though. So that's the only reason I might leave it to the later in the window. But £2.8 million, you can't really go wrong with that. So that looks pretty good. Steven Spendy, he looks like he could be a good option at striker too. Already playing in the Serie A, which is good. Another good player that could come in as a striker. That's one of our two options. Fran's another player that I missed out talking to you about as well because he was already on the shortlist. I think I showed him before. He's really young. He doesn't want to accept a contract in another country right now. But in terms of strikers, you've got those two that I've shown you. Luque is option 3, but our number one target was Carl Nygaard. He doesn't want to accept a contract abroad right now, so he may not be an option for us, which is going to be devastating because he's so good and got so much potential. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I've shown you all the players that I am looking at, and in terms of players out, I'm trying to get them out the door. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, in terms of players in, anybody that I sign is going to be a player that I've showed you there or that's already on this list. Everybody that's been scouted, I would probably have shown you them before. If I haven't, then apologies. But I probably should have shown you most of these players on the shortlist anyway. And then the ones that you've got no ratings on the players. These are all the players that I've looked at for this transfer window. So I'm going to go in now, try and get some negotiations in, see what we can do. And I'll give you an update maybe around the end of June and then again at the start of the season. So I'll see you in a few weeks, end of June. Hopefully get some players out. Let's get some players in. And the team should hopefully be looking a bit better going into the season. Okay, welcome back. Before we even get to the signings that I've made, let's just take a moment to acknowledge how much the Serie A hate us in this game. Look at the fixtures here. Fixture list. Lazio away. Inter at home. AC Milan away, Juventus at home. So, yeah. We could quite easily start the season with like 4 points and feel pretty good about that. Like, fuck's sake. Right. Yeah, well, there you go. So, when I said we'd play 2 games at the start, I think it'll be the Inter game and the AC Milan game, right? That's the 2 games that we've got to play. So that's going to be, the most obvious thing to do. I think play those 2 on camera when we first come back at the start of the season, which I guess makes it pretty easy. There we go. So there's that. Let's get into the transfers. So our first signing was Jean-Philippe Mateta, like I said, on a free transfer on 25 grand a week. He's going to be our backup striker, and I think a pretty good value for money signing there with him coming on a free. Hasn't scored much in the save so far, so there is that. I was very aware of that when I signed him, but hopefully he does the business. He'd be all right. He'd be fine. I signed Patrick Dorgu, who's going to be our starting left-back, a very attacking left-back, 14 dribbling, 14 crossing, off the ball of 16, agility 17, 21 years old, lots of room to improve. Not the best tackling. Now, I did notice that, and I didn't want to get another left-back with such low tackling, but beggars can't be choosers, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to tell everybody, we are not in a position to just pick who we want. He was the best left-back I could get. Really, I could have got Gutierrez if I wanted to spend 40 million on a left back, which I don't. So Dorgu comes in for £14.5 million, which is much better, and he's already playing in Italy, which helps us too. Next signing was Alvaro Giallo, who's going to come in for a massive £15.5 million starting level winger. Him and Chilafia are going to be a very, very good either partnership, or it will mean that on the right hand side, it doesn't matter whether the first choice winger is playing or the backup one is in. We're going to get an exceptional performance out of that player. So either way we look at this, either we've got 2 really good starting wingers to play, or we're going to have a really strong backup to a starting level winger, and we'll see how that goes into the season. Ruben Van Bommel comes in for something like 13, wasn't it? £13.5 million. Again, left-sided player is going to cut in his left foot. He needs to get his dribbling up, but apart from that, he could develop into a really good player for us. Backup number 10-2, pretty quick, 6'3", should be a decent depth option and rotational player. Yuri Alberto comes in to be our starting striker. He was a player that I was looking at pretty closely. Does go down as one of our non-EU slots for the season. So he'll be the starting striker, Mateta to be the backup, and he can play wide if needed because he's got the acceleration and agility to be able to play there. Really give me the starting striker. I'm expecting big things from him over the course of the season. Hopefully he does a good job. Good signing, I think that's going to be for us. Big wages, but we're in the Champions League. Got to do it at some point. Ricardo Calafiori, he looks really good. Now, Roma don't really want to use him. I think it was Roma. Yeah, Roma just signed him. They hadn't started him much. He seemed like he was available for quite cheap. My scouts or my analysts had told me he was available for £2 million. Ended up being 7, but I still feel like it was a really good value for money. He's Italian, homegrown, left-footed centre-back that can play left-back. And even if he played left-back, he's got 13 dribbling, 14 crossing. He's actually pretty good in possession, but he's definitely the centre-back profile of player, being 6'2", not excellently quick, not the most agile, but he is a very good defender and a really good utility player. So I think it was excellent value for money. And yeah, Calafiori comes in for £7 million. Oliver Christensen comes in, our starting goalkeeper. Yes, £5.5 million. Looks really, really good. Looks like a slightly upgrade on the previous goalkeeper. Bit of wages, but that's fine. I think he should be pretty good for this season. And I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully be an upgrade for us. Although conceding goals wasn't really the problem anyway. But yeah, he comes in for, what was it, £5.5 million. And then last but not least, the player I've already showed you, Marco Meerveld comes in, the young Dutch player. Now, because he's come in, I realised that I basically, for the wing options now, we've got Van Bommel, Jallo, Chilafia, and Rainier can play left if we need to. Asan can play left if I need him to. Like, eventually, I'm going to have to try and get Marco minutes into the game. Minutes on the pitch, sorry. So, yeah, I felt like selling Ola, the backup winger, was worth doing, because if I've got players out if I lose all three wingers or two of the three wingers out, I would then stick like Asan wide and play Meerveld or somebody as a 10. I would start to do things like that. So that's what we've gone with in terms of the squad. So that's currently the squad. It's quite small right this second. There's room to improve. We've still got a lot of money to spend, because I've sold a lot of players up front with money up front and bought a lot of players with installments, which I need to start undoing a little bit. So Pascal Clemens has had an offer for 17, wasn't it? I think with kick-ons, actually, it's more than that. It says 15 here, but it's not. It's more than 15. It was Clemens here. It's £20.5 million in total. So that would be the offer from Dortmund, £20.5 million with 20% of the profit of the next sale. Having bought him for 7, that's a pretty good little profit there. He's a brilliant defender and he's quick. That's the problem. So I'm going to consider this. I'm not sure if we're definitely going to do it. Do I think we can get away without him? Probably. I think we could sell him and we could get away for a year with accepting the fact then the title's probably not going to come, because we'll be lacking a little bit of centre-back, I think, with Papetti, Calafiori, Monterisi. I could buy a right-back and use Monterisi as a centre-back. Whenever I've done that, though, I don't feel like Monterisi is the best centre-back. Not sure. But anyway, I might do that. That would save us a bit in wages. It would get us a lot of money back into the club. So that is an option for us and something I will consider. But yeah, in terms of like players still to come in, I would love to still buy another pivot player. I tried to get to players that I didn't get. Mateus, the lad, the Austrian lad that I said was my number one target, didn't accept our contract offer, went to somebody else, which was really disappointing. So that's why he's not with us. But there's going to be probably a pivot player. There'll definitely be a pivot player that comes in to at the very least be a backup, but hopefully a starter level player. So you have Handel, you have Dardai, and then one other really good one, with the Meerveld being an option 2 to play at pivots. He's going to learn to play there. And you've got Asan as a 10, with Rainier as the backup number 10. Those are your two number 10s. Then wingers, you've got Edward, you've got Jallo, you've got Van Bommel, and you also got Montero as an emergency. It wouldn't really be Montero, though. It would be probably Asan shoved wide, something like that, right? So numbers-wise, for number 10s, wingers, and strikers, we're sorted. We're definitely one short at pivots. Only probably one, though. We're definitely short still on defenders. I'd like to maybe get another left back, and it depends if Clemens goes. So there's still a bit of movement to go in the transfer market. Obviously, there's a really good player, good value for money that comes up that we can't really turn down. We could then try and buy a player in any position, but that's what we've got so far. So yeah, pretty much bang up to date. I will continue now through to the start of the season, play against bloody Lazio, Inter, and AC Milan. I'm worried, do they play 4-4-2 still as well? Oh, they do, don't they? So I don't know if I should show you 3 matches in this episode, because that's a 4-4-2. Then you got 2 games back to back. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I'll see you in a few weeks' time for the start of the season. We'll see if we've got any more players coming in to show you as well. Right, okay. It's getting late now here tonight. It's what we come up to 1 a.m. here at this point. But I want to get this recording done in one go, because I put a lot of time and effort into getting this team together. And I've been bloody enjoying what we've been doing off of camera. And yeah, so I guess the time doesn't make any difference to you, but just so you know, it's all been done in one recording this episode, but it's ran quite late without me realising the time. So to bring you up to date on the transfers, we have signed since we last met. Stefano Gori is the homegrown goalkeeper. He's going to come in and be probably our number 2, I guess, rather than just number 3. That's what I brought him in for, though. So that's a homegrown Italian goalkeeper, which is good. Tommaso Barbieri is just going to be a backup fullback. I thought he was pretty good defensively. Free transfer again, didn't cost me a single thing. So he's just going to be there as a depth player, emergency option if we need. Could play as a pivot if we needed him to, because he's actually got the attributes for it. But yeah, just an emergency player really. Fabian Rieder comes in for £4.4 million. He was transfer listed. Good, I think, 4-2-3-1 type player. Like he's a really good pivot player that can be more advanced. So looks pretty good. Really solid player. I actually wanted to sign him anyway. And yeah, I quite like him. You quite like the look of him. Looks pretty good. That was a good signing as well. We wanted a left back. And not only do we get a left back, but we've got a left back that has played obviously for Brighton before. and I'm really excited to bring in Coquella into the club. Anytime we get a Brighton player, even if they were there before De Zerbi, just any Brighton players, it's good to get somebody in. So yeah, there he is. He comes in. Mark Coquella comes in for a massive £5 million. A really good bit of business for us. Comes in to be our left back. Looks pretty solid, doesn't he? Maybe isn't the most like good on the ball in terms of dribbling, which is also going down apparently. That's not good. But he's a really good, solid defender. Big wages, but I think he's really solid. That's our left back done for at least this season, and we'll see how things go into the next one. And then we signed 2 players on loan that I think are going to really, really save us. Romeo Lavia. I needed a pivot player. We lost out on Mateus, the Austrian lad that we looked at before. And I just felt like that he's the only pivot player in the world that I could get financially that's actually a really good defensive midfield player. Like good at tackling, good at positioning, quick a little bit as well. Concentration is good. Anticipation is good. Like Reina, players like that, like deep line playmaker, or box-to-box type players. That's what I could get almost in abundance, but I couldn't get a good pivot player. Romeo Lavia isn't just a defensive midfield player, of course. He's much better than that. 14 passing, 40 vision, it goes a long way just to say that on its own. But in addition to being good in other areas, he's good defensively too, and that's what I needed. In he comes, loan for the season. I don't like the fact that we're yet again relying on a loan player to get us through in a position, but that's what he comes in for on loan. I also signed Tino Livramento on loan as well. Now, I didn't feel like I needed to do this, but I was looking at the right back position, and Monterisi, by the way, had an offer on him for like quite a big offer. I still haven't decided if I'm going to get rid of him or not yet, but it was quite a big offer. I was looking at Monterisi thinking that I don't want to sell any Italian players. I don't want to sell them, but I feel like that him or Papetti is fine at centre-back. I don't like them together. And I just felt like that really we could probably do with upgrading right back. We're a bit weak there in terms of like a starting level player. To be fair, I probably could sell Bryce now because I'm not going to use him really because, well, no, that's not true. I would. No, really Barbieri's there as like an emergency player because like if Livramento's out, it'd be Bryce. Like a lot of stars would have to align for Barbieri to get some minutes. He's actually pretty good to be fair, but he's not really the optimal player. Yeah, so that then leaves me Clement and Papetti centre-back. Livramento could play centre-back if we need him to, but really it's those 2 centre-backs and then Monterisi as well. But I'll just finish off the players in for a second, actually, before we go too far. The last but not least, the reason why I'm considering selling Monterisi is this player here called Roberto Scheiner. Roberto Scheiner is basically Monterisi. He's basically a new gen Monterisi, but he's 18 years old, going to be club homegrown by the time he reaches the appropriate age. He looks really good. Looks really, really good in all areas. He could be a top level centre-back. Italian centre-back as well. So I almost want to give him game time. I've got 2 choices. Either I should loan him out so he gets game time, or I should play him myself. But even if we played him, he's not going to play, I don't think, enough to really improve loads. So I'm not too sure what to do yet, but I could sell Monterese and keep him at Scheiner, because we've still got Ricardo, don't forget, to play centre-back too, who on paper looks really good. The only thing that makes me hesitant is because he seems more naturally a left-back, and he's got some traits that, would encourage forward progress of the ball, and he's left-footed, which not necessarily is a bad thing. It's just different to what we've had in the last couple of seasons. So yeah, I'm not too sure what to do. I feel like financially, we could probably get away without selling Monterisi. We've got the squad to do everything we need to do now. In terms of players out, by the way, you probably can't see it too easily, but Grandi, Hoyland, Perini, Azon, Costinha, and Olav all gone. Costinha has gone, so yeah, that's one decision I think I made recently. Costinha's going to go, and it's because I knew I could get Livramento, and I feel like that was an upgrade, that Costinha goes out, Livramento comes in, only on loan, of course, but it means this year he could then be our starting player. It gives us a really good starting 11. It gives us a chance at a trophy, I think, that sort of upgrade. Monterisi, I'm really undecided about because Papetti's also got an offer on him as well. I think I'd prefer to let Papetti go than Monterisi because Monterisi is slightly better defensively and he can play right back as well. Whereas Papetti, it's the 11 tackling. It's that worries me. But off camera, we just played our first game of the season. We beat Lazio 3-0, who play a 4-4-2, and it was away from home, and we were brilliant. What I did was I thought Luis Alberto was going to play as like an advanced playmaker, so he would rotate forward. So we did the same thing, right? I put a sand to the right-hand side. Chilafia in. So then we had Asan already on Alberto here, and then Chilafia was coming in on the other side. And what we noticed, though, was that Luis Alberto wasn't rotating, and the reason Asan was there was really so that when Luis Alberto was rotating forwards, we can counter through him with Asan. And he wasn't rotating. He was actually sitting deep and getting on the ball early. So what I decided to do was to go to a narrow 3. So we had both wingers went in and played as advanced playmakers with Asan. So it was like a 4-2-3 a narrow, no wingers. That either meant that we would dominate them, or they'd break through because they'd get the ball to their wingback. They played an inverted wingback one side, natural on the other. So if the natural one got it, he was unmarked and he would travel with the ball up, and then we'd have to try and get across and press him. So then once we went a goal up, what I did is I then made our... where their side had a natural wingback, which I think was this side, Jallo went back to the side to deal with that. And then we left the other two in there to deal with the inverted wingback coming in this side. Then Asan just stayed on Alberto. Yeah, then what happened afterwards is Jallo went back out to the wingback, because at the same time that we went 1-0 up, they then changed Alberto to an advanced playmaker. So the previous plan was that Asan then would go his side, so that when they lose the ball, Asan's already there ready to counter, and their inverted wingback was still coming into the AM or DM strata, then AM strata for us. So Chilafia would stay there. So Chilafia was there to man mark their inverted wingback coming in and to be in the way of their pivot player. Asan was there to be in the way of Alberto early on, but then also be there to counter them when they lost the ball. And it worked perfectly. As you can see there, I wouldn't say perfect. It worked really well because they had pretty high XG, of course. But the chances came at the start of the game when it was like 4-2-3 narrow versus their tactic. And it was like, we both had a tactic that was going to be able to get past the other. It was a case of who was going to win, but it was better as we went on. But it was a good win for us in the 3-0 game. And Papetti did play centre-back. I might get rid of Papetti because, and I know I wanted to keep Italian homegrown players, but I just think for now, I don't think we need all three of them because I feel like that Ricardo's a good enough stand-in. And I feel like that financially, the transfer debt's quite high, 52. We can get it down below 50, which would be nice. The projection's still good for the season. If you're still in the white here, you're looking pretty good because it would mean that with the Champions League money that comes in, you're going to be absolutely fine towards the end of the season. So, but I do think I would like to sell one more player, and I do think that if it's a choice between the two, I prefer to get rid of Papetti here. We'll try and get rid of Papetti. Monterisi is a much bigger offer. I just feel like that Monterisi is a really solid player, both right back and at centre back. Let's go Monterisi. I want to go Monterisi in there. Let's go Monterisi with Clemens. I like those two together at the back. We'll go with those two. Right, okay. So, you're up to date with the transfers and everything like that. Certainly, Cucurella did score 2 goals on his debut from left back, which was nice to see. But we have Inter now. Inter can play 3-5-2 against us, I think. Yes, they will. So that'll be our double inverted fullback type situation. We've got really good players to deal with this now too. So I like the look of the team right this second. This is a really solid outfit. But that's going to be your team anyway. Your team is going to be Christensen in goal, Cucurella, Monterisi, Clemens, and Livramento across the back, Lavia, Dardai pivots, Asan 10, Chilafia left, Jallo right, Yuri Alberto goes down the middle, and we'll see how we get on. Assistant manager says, if you carry your points to the last match, you'll do well. There it is. There's your 3-5-2. They signed Salvador Esposito. I tried to bloody sign, but he sided with Inter over us, which is why I did get actually Lavia, because we lost that on Matthias, and then we lost that on Esposito too, which was disappointing. But that is the situation. So, what we're going to do here, we're going to go with this again. Get our players in midfield. We're going to match at the midfield. So they've got 2 advanced ones and 1 pivot. So we've got the striker on the back 3. Asan stays on the pivot player. Wing backs are marked by the wingers. 2 pivots on their 2 advanced central players. And everything else is pretty much good to go. Which makes sure they're pressed immediately when they get the ball. And that is it. And we'll see how we go from there against this. And hopefully it all goes swimmingly. Okay, they bring the ball down from a set piece. Can we try and win the ball and counter here? Is it going to be their chance? Right, the ball goes back to the goalkeeper. We're going to spread out into our in-possession shape here quite quickly, I'd hope. Monterisi left back is wide open. Use him. Cucurella gets it. Cucurella plays it in to Chilafia. Chilafia's got time and space. He's got the strike if he wants him. Keeps going. Use him now. Yuri Alberto. Clemens. We get the overload here. Jallo. Jallo turns the wing back like he's not even there. Cuts back into Livramento. Livramento takes a touch. He's got options with him. Clemens. Asan turns. Oh, I thought Asan was going to get a goal. Chilafia still on the left-hand side. Cross. Asan, and it's going to be a goal. We're absolutely tearing Inter apart. And that is going to be 1-0. What a goal from Venezia. We're looking good. Yeah, I really thought Hassan ruined the attack right here when he played back instead of trying to turn, like spin and get a shot away or a little slide pass in there. But we get the ball back. Hassan scores. That's one. There's an instant highlight afterwards, actually. They're going to play straight into Lautaro, who's dropped way off to get onto the ball. We could have won that there. DeMarco gets it, plays it into the middle. Can we win this, lads? Esposito with loads of time. They get across to the right-hand side. Blocked shot comes back out. They're going to get another chance at this. Is it going to be a goal highlight? Oh, force them back. Good. I don't know what the striker's doing here. You should be really forcing yourself onto the left centre-back there in that situation. Monterrey heads it away for a corner. A couple of things to note here, actually. The first thing is the attendance. The attendance is 35,000, which is obviously a lot more than it was before the previous stadium. We're in the temporary stadium, of course, right now. Livramento gets it from the set piece here. He plays into Jallo. Jallo's going to look for Dardai. Dardai's got options. Hassan at the far post. Heads it down. It's the post. It's going to be cleared away. They're being put under massive pressure into, and it stays 1-0. Esposito tries to switch into the right back, who's getting a lot of joy, actually. I feel like that the left-sided player, Chilafia, is not dealing with him very well. He keeps getting open as Roque goes through. Roque shoots. He was only just offside. Yeah, I don't like this right now. I'm going to go support duty for Chilafia because he keeps letting him go, and I don't like it. I'm going to say keep it going. If I don't know the gear in the second half, I could set the wingers to mark the wing backs rather than just going Chilafia support duty to try and deal with that issue. But I like to avoid the man marking stuff when I can. I'm watching that left-hand side now. Like, he's going to be open again, isn't he? No, Chilafia got back okay there. Oh, this time it's DeMarco that goes through. Oh, and it's going to be a fucking penalty. I'm pretty gutted about this because they don't deserve this at all. Their XG is going to look so much better after this. I'm gonna set the two wingers to man mark after this as well, despite the fact he just gave a penalty there. And they score and it's 1-1. Plays it back to Monterrey. Got a 3-1 shape here. One pivot there. Three centre-backs. Dardai plays it into Jallo. Nearly doesn't get to that. Does now. Is he going to use the full-backs here? Livramento. Dardai whips in far post. Chilafia far post. Headed not quite away. Hassan gets a shot. What a finish that is! Big Hassan, who's playing the captain role for us. He's not the captain today, but he may as well be. 2-1. 2-1. Brilliant stuff. Come on. I want to see this again. He must spin and shoot this on his weaker foot here. What an absolutely brilliant effort from Hassan. Who was the cross from? Was it from Dardai? First time clip. Kevin De Bruyne type cross. And yeah, left foot. Wow, there you go. 2-1. Instant highlight afterwards. I'm going to take off Yuri Alberto and throw on Mateta again up front. Yuri Alberto didn't do well in the last match. And he hasn't done well this match either so far. Is he going to latch onto that? He almost did. They can play out with their three. We're giving them 3 versus 1 here. They can have it here. But you see how much better the winger was marking the wing back there from me setting the man marking into before. Well, he might get away from it now because we just lost the bloody ball. But they might get attacked from this, but I don't really care. The whole point is you just see where he's marking him now. See how much better that looks from a defensive perspective. And we've got the man-for-man midfields, and we've got this sorted. So you can have your 3-1, and you can go back to the goalkeeper. We've done them here because they've tried to play something risky. They've turned it over. That's us being successful. As a coaching staff, that's us being successful. Now, they get the ball back because our player gives it away when he shouldn't do and loses it. So now this is the player's fault. And then let's see what happens here. Yeah, problems all over the shop. We should be able to deal with this, but we know it's a highlight, right? So it could be a goal. Lautaro, there you go. 2-2, devastating. Livramento throws it in to Assam. Assam back to Livramento. Livramento's going to turn the play back into Clemens, into Lavia. Lavia to Monterizzi. Nice patient bit of play using the entire back line. Going across the other side of the pitch, actually. Look at this. Look at this football. Hassan gets it. Cucuella. Clemens shoots first time, goes just over the bar. I'm going to make a change for Jallo. He's our best winger, but he's not having a good game. And Chilafia is. Let's make that change. Let's put on Van Bommel to the left, I reckon. Let's go with that. Chilafia back to Livramento. Livramento goes and whips it towards the far post, headed away. Lavia's going to get onto it. Edge of the area. Van Bommel, just come on. Scores and it's 3-2. Come on. You're feeling like this could be a title challenging type match if we can get the win. 3-2 against the reigning champions. Love this finish. Van Bommel absolutely pings this one into the far corner. That's the second time we've done one of those crosses towards that far post with the 3 centre-backs. And them defending it is what's given us the goal. And that's going to be 3-2. Okay, interplay around the back. Play into midfield. Lautaro has dropped way off here. They've got a potential chance. That's never going. Never going in a million years against this goalkeeper. Thank you. Dardai could come off. So could Lavia. Just looking at the profile of players that we've got, I think that if we bring on... I can bring on 2 left-footed players, I guess. I definitely want Handel coming on here. I could take Lavia off. Or I could say Livramento is not playing very well. So let's do this. This feels like a risk. But we're doing bad defensively anyway, aren't we, in this game? So let's bring Pepetti on centre-back. Move Monterisi back to right-back. Gives us a bit more of a advantage in the air as well. So they've gone 3-4-1-2. So they've got 2 up front, 1 in as a number 10. So if we want to match up their formation, we now need to do this. We could go to the 4-3-3 in total, actually. I'm just thinking, do we want to keep the Libero thing? Because I feel like we want to keep 3 still. Do I change one to an inverted wing-back, though? Do we go this direction instead here? I feel like we do that. I feel like that's a better option for the remainder of the game. I say we go with that, and hopefully that's enough for us to see out the game and win the game still. There's a late highlight right before added time starts. Van Mol's going to get this. He loses it. They're going to try and clear it. Lavi's got to get to that. Lavi, you've got to get to that. Good lad. Well done. He did. What's he going to do with it? He's going to go wide. Van Bommel gets it. Deflected. Matessa gets there. What's he doing with it? It's crossed. Van Bommel! It's going to be 4-2. We're going to get the win. We're going to beat Inter Milan, the reigning defending champions of Italy. We score and make it 4-2. And again, it's not because we've won the game. We've won the game because of our decisions collectively as a coaching staff and as a set of players. What we've tried to do has worked, and we've won the game, and we bloody deserved it as well. Have some of that. 4-2. And there you have it. Finishes 4-2 to Venezia. I think that Van Bommel coming off the bench was a huge moment in the game. He was a brilliant player once he came on to the pitch. And that puts us 2 games and 2 wins. I mean, I said to you that if we had 4 points from the first 4 games, we could probably consider that an okay start. If we were to get through this early stage, I know there's a long way to go, but if we get through this early stage with something like 10 or 12 points, we could be on for the title this year, because that's Lazio away, Inter, AC Milan, and then Juventus all out the way already. That's crazy. Lazio away is as difficult of a game as any of those others for us, because they're a good team away from home to play against, and they're playing 4-4-2. So that's a huge game as well out the way. Right, 7 goals scored, 2 matches, brilliant stuff. I'll see you in 9 days for the game against AC Milan, and I'm now edging towards just loaning out Shayna and keeping everybody, because this could be a title challenge. Yeah, okay, I'll see you in a week. Right, okay, what would you do? It's a really good offer. Financially, I wouldn't even question this. It's a great deal. I would take it. But we've got a chance of winning the league this year, and this could undo it. It's a tough one. I'm going to accept the offer for now. Obviously, it doesn't mean that, well, 1, he has to accept their offer, and then 2, we can decide later if we actually want to do that. But that's a huge offer. Have they had a takeover or something? Yeah, Tycoon takeover. There you go. So, wow. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. But we'll accept it for now. Let's see what comes back from that. And then let's see who we would get. Because obviously, Rainier isn't going to replace him as the starter. He'd still stay as the backup. We'd have to sign somebody to replace him. And looking at the list, I mean, Victor Hugo is a really good player. He's not quite the same level of player, I don't think, just yet. And he's also left-footed, which just changes a lot of dynamics. Jacopo Fazzini is a really good player. Probably the best like-for-like, maybe. And he's also Italian. But is he the same level of player? My gut feeling is, ironically, to just decline this. But let's see what happens anyway when it actually goes through and see if he does actually join them. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so he still hasn't made a decision yet, Asan. We did, however, manage to sign Carl Nygaard, the wonder kid striker that we've been trying to get for ages. He's finally agreed to join us. It took a relegation to the second tier with his previous club for us to get him, but he's going to be really good, I think. And I mean, to be fair, Yuri Alberto didn't start very well in his first couple of games. Obviously, try and give him every opportunity to do well, but it could be a case that Carl Nygaard plays for the under-21s for a bit. Maybe in the Champions League he plays those matches, and we'll try and get him slowly into the team. I'm going to let Jer Montero go now, because if Nygaard comes in, I don't need Jer Montero anymore, so he can then go, free up some money in the club. And yeah, we're getting to this game against AC Milan, who I'm assuming are going to play 4-3-3 again, unless they change their manager. And they have not, so it's going to be double striker on pressing forward support for this one. So your team is going to be Christensen in goal, Cucurella. Internet, we're going to play Calafiore at centre-back with Monterisi this time. Livramento right back, Lavia, Dardai pivots, Asan as the 10, Jello right, Gillifia left, Roberto up front. Yeah, in all these games, we've... I don't know. I feel like that we still haven't been great defensively, and I feel like it's personnel at times. So Monterisi is going to get the start again because Clemens, while he was out, we could force him back if we want to, but I'm not going to force him in for this. And we'll play him. And I already decided that I was going to play Calafiori, so that's why he starts. And Papetti could be going for £5 million to somebody. We signed him for 1.5. He's a really good player. He's not ever going to develop his tackling, and that's the one thing that worries me. So we'll see. We'll probably let him go, though. He'll be the one that goes. But let's get into the game anyway. Let's see how we get on against AC Milan. Big game this. Assistant manager says, if you carry opponents into this match, you'll do well. Okay. 4-3-3, pretty easy. We're going to go up here and up here. Double pressing forward support for the two forwards. And we're going to make sure it's a mid-block. And that's pretty much all we're going to do for this. Again, the reason being that it doesn't matter what side Bennica goes. One of these two is now going to pick him up because they're both pressing forward supports and they're both on a mid-block, right, for the line of engagement. So one of those two picks him up. It then leaves two pivots on their two CMs, and it allows their two centre-backs to be completely free if they want to try and progress up the pitch a little bit. Yeah, so we go. Come on then, let's go. Here we go then, Venezia against AC Milan. A big away game early on in the season. And, yep, they can play the 4-3-3, and let's see how we get on. Okay, Lavia plays a long direct pass up to Roberto. Doesn't bring it down, actually. Assign gets to it now. Takes some touches, drives inside, plays to Roberto, plays into Chilafia. Chilafia shoots from absolutely miles out, and it goes over the bar. Still 0 shots for AC Milan up to this point. And they're going to try and play through. We did this to, was it Valencia we did this to? Somebody did this to at the end of last season. The Livramento should have got to that, really. Doesn't in the end. AC Milan are going to build their attack. He doesn't really know where to go with it, does he, Bentica? Oh, yeah, okay. We're still staying on. Good, I love this. I mean, he should have been picked up. That's not your fault. And they're going to get out potentially here now, are they? Can we reset, lads? Can we reset? Let's see, I love this. I love how deep the pressing forwards are going with the mid-block now. Makes us much more secure defensively. We're going to force it back to the centre-back. That's fine. Let the centre-back have the ball. He's the only person that can have it, though. We're going to get into here. Oh, they're going to play through us. Kalulu got a bit of time and space. Plays it across. Going to be cleared away just. And it could be a counter-attack instantly here. They've got 4 versus 3 in our favour. We can try and release this. Chilafia left-hand side. He's gone wide and allowed them to get back to them. That's a shame. Okay, Milan have this on the right-hand side. Build their attack. They're going to cut this back to the edge of the area maybe now. There it goes. Early pressure on them. Is it going to be our highlight? Can we win it off them? It's probably not. It's probably going to be there, as you would have thought. They're going to build their attack now a bit slower on the left-hand side. Our left, their right. I mean, this guy's calling for it all day over here. He wants it so badly on the switch. He's not going to get it, though. Raspadori gets it. Who's followed him there? Is that... Oh, it's Dardai. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I thought it was a centre-back for a second. As they go inside now, and they're going to get an attack, are they, from this? Oh, Theo Hernandez did get the ball in the end, to be fair to him. He was calling for it, bless him, the whole time. And, oh, they're going to get a chance now. They're going to score. They do. It's 1-0. We're going to say, get your act together. I'm going to ring the changes in. Not happy with this. So let's do the same sort of things again. Let's go. Change the wingers. Let's take off Jala. Let's throw on Van Bommel. Let's take off, I think Yuri Alberto needs to come off. Put on Mateta up front. We'll make a change at left back as well. We'll get our more attacking left back on. And Dardai can come off. And let's throw on, let's get on. Who should we get on here? Yeah, let's go Reader. Why not? Okay, going on attack to try and get back into the game. Made our last sub as well. Hopefully we're going to get a chance to try and get a goal. Oh, man, they might score from this. Oh, no. It's going to be a chance for them, isn't it? We're not going to survive this. Oh, no, maybe it's now. Got time and space. Ping it. He's open. No. Oh, hopefully we can still make something of this. Oh, it's a great ball. Mateta goes through. What's he going to do with it? Cuts it back. Left back gets it. Oh, gives it away. No. Oh, that was so close to being a great chance for us. Oh, and they're going to break away. I don't believe it. That's a shame. Rafael goes through, shoots. Yeah, there you go. Game over. We might have a chance from this highlight. Bryce gets it on the right-hand side. 10 minutes to go. If we get a goal, we've got a chance still of coming back. This highlight has to be the goal, though. Goes across. Asan's going to surely finish. It does. There we go. We've got a chance. Oh, there's a highlight in added time. Is this going to be our chance? This is it. This has to be a goal for us to get the draw. We're going to get one chance of this. Well, it might not even be our chance, but we're only going to get one chance if it is, even for us, as the highlight enters the final stage, as you would expect pretty soon. There it is, Lavia. Lavia into Duggan. Was he onside is the first question. Whips it across. Deflected. Oh, keeper saves it. Oh, it's deflected again. Oh, they've survived it. They're so lucky. So lucky. And they've stolen it. Disgusting. We'll say proud of the boys. I mean, I think we're going to get them when we play them at home. They're very, very lucky to have won that game. And at least we won the first 2 matches, right? But that stings a little bit because they didn't deserve that. But they get the win. And then it leaves us with the Juventus game, which I'll probably play now off of camera. But wow, what a roller coaster end to the episode. Unreal. So much stuff happens in that. A really good win and a really unlucky defeat. And as long as we split the game with them, as long as we beat AC Milan at home and even up that defeat, we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a shame if it keeps happening like every year we go in a title race and whichever Italian team has scored 1-3 out of 3 goes on and gets 97 points. You know, that's going to be annoying. It's like it was Inter last year, then this year it's AC Milan. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for the rest of the season. Right. That is probably going to do the episode. In terms of off camera, all you're going to potentially miss here is Pepetti's going to leave. I'll tell you what, before we let's see what Hassan does. Let's just see what Hassan does first. Okay, so Hassan snubbed their offer anyway, so he's going to stay with us. Our Steven Gerrard, our Frank Lampard is going to be staying with us. He does feel like Steven Gerrard for Liverpool, like in the years where, like maybe the early Benitez years where he was really driving that whole team and lifting the whole team up to his level. That is what Hassan does for us. He is that fucking profile player for us. What a legend. And yeah, well, okay, that will do your episode then. So there's going to be no players in. Pepetti will leave, and I think that'll probably be it. Carl Nygaard is going to probably play as a striker because I think that's, you know, we've already seen that let's go on some shooting, I think, instead of quickness. No, good quickness. Yeah, I think that Alberto's already showing that he's not doing the business early on, so we'll make that change and see how that goes. Maybe after the Juventus game, I'll play him. I'll play Nygaard against Salzburg and probably against Torino back to back, and then we can rotate somebody else in the Madrid game. And he'll get a lot of these games, I think. And it's just because if the other strikers aren't doing that well anyway, then, you know, we may as well play the player. Then we may as well play the player with the most potential. But anyway, brilliant episode. Really invigorated with what we've seen today. Really good stuff in the transfer market. Really well set up for the future. Transfer today looks really big, but like the projections, like that's fine, absolutely fine. And we're going to get loads of Champions League money coming in anyway. And yeah, and we're about to be £5 million better off in the transfer debt anyway. It'll go down to 45 million in a second. And I think that's absolutely fine for a team in the Champions League. So yeah, all looking pretty good. Next episode, like I said, we're going to change it up now. You don't need to come back for any of these games. What I think we'll do then, we'll come back for the Italian Super Cup semi-final against AC Milan because there's a chance to win a trophy. So we'll come back for that. Then we'll play the final if we get there. And then if we don't, we'll probably come back for maybe the Inter game with it. Maybe we do the AC Milan in the cup and the cup final if it's there, then finish off with Inter and AC Milan, finishing off January as the whole episode. And then what that does is that sets us up really then for the next episode being the first knockout round of the Champions League and then trying to match up league matches. So it could be like we do Juventus, then the Champions League match, and then probably the second leg. Looking towards the end of the season, we don't really play any of the big teams until Roma, right? It's quite a big drop. So our crucial period is going to be in this area here. So, but yeah, anyway, easy next episode. AC Milan in the Italian Super Cup semi-final, then the final if we get there, then Inter, then AC Milan, along with the whole transfer window activity too. That's your next episode, and then we'll go from there. But we'll definitely play the Juventus game in that period because, yeah, well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? It's basically not going to be us beating teams in crucial points of the season in the title race. It's going to be, we're going to play each other here, and then it's who does the best against the other AI teams, basically, is what it's going to be a case of. So we'll see what we can do. But that is going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the series, and I'll see you all, of course, next time.